Here's the rub. A business partnership is as dynamic, complex, and oftentimes as difficult as a marriage. The only difference is you don't have the upside of the hanky-panky. Therefore, you got to plan. And a big part of planning is having the conversations you need to have in advance of becoming partners. I did a blog post with 20 questions that you need to be asking your partner before becoming partners. Much of the work centers around aligning of expectations and understanding the differentiation of roles. So let's start with aligning expectations. So, how many hours do you plan on working in the business? Are you going to be 9 to 5, Monday through Friday? Or are you going to be 60 plus hours a week going on the weekends to catch up? When the company has an additional $100,000 in cash on hand, will you want to distribute the money so you can buy a new jet ski, or are you going to want to reinvest the money back into the company for growth? Are you interested in being the face of the business, or would you prefer to be behind the scenes? Talk about titles. What is each person's exact title going to be, and are you okay with that? So much of the work I'm advocating has to do with ego. In advance, you have to make sure that everyone's egos are taken care of. The ego is like a silent partner who's malicious and whispering in your partner's ear, and you need to expose that voice as quickly and clearly as possible. All right, that little story. I'll never forget the time we signed two young gentlemen to a franchise contract very early on in our days of franchising. And at one of our first meetings, they showed up with matching motorcycles they had purchased the night before. It was a little surprising and seemed like they were more interested in the party than they were in the grind of opening the business, but I didn't say anything. 2 weeks later, they show up to our offices again, and it was a beautiful day, and I asked about the motorcycles. Well, they had a family member who had invested in the business with them, and when she found out that they had purchased matching motorcycles, she hit the roof. Her opinion was that they needed to preserve every dime of cash they had to support themselves through the startup process. Not to mention, she didn't think they were going to have time to be out playing on their motorcycles, that they were going to be working like crazy in the business protecting her investment. They returned the motorcycles, but the relationship never recovered, and the business partnership didn't last more than a couple of months, unfortunately. Another astounding example from our history was when two guys approached us and were ready to build a store together. They had been best friends since kindergarten. They were dynamic and brought different skills to the table, and at first glance it looked like it was a match made in heaven. And we were incredibly enthusiastic about our engagement with them. Well, everything looked great, but what we didn't know was that their wives didn't get along at all and had very different opinions about how the business was going to be managed. The partners, best friends from kindergarten, were already not speaking to each other by the time the store opened, and within 30 days, one partner had completely abandoned his responsibilities, and the store closed within 9 months. In my 20 questions on my blog post, I talk about spouses and whether they are supporting the business and the partnership. It seems so obvious, but I promise you I have 10 more examples of this kind of thing. Many people are in a fantasy when they're planning their businesses, and if you don't have the very real and necessary conversations in advance, it will most likely end up in disaster. Are you and your partner's expectations aligned? Partnerships are hard enough. If you are in lockstep, chances of failure go up exponentially. If you can't have the hard conversations up front and feel good about your future partner's response, keep your money in your savings account and wait for a better opportunity. The other major topic is differentiation of roles. If you and your partner are good at the same things and you want to be involved in the same things, that's a waste of resources, and you should consider whether there's value in being partners. The best partners have different interests and strengths. If both partners want to be involved in the tech, but nobody wants to deal with finance and marketing, you've got a problem on your hands. A partner brings skills to the table that you would otherwise have to hire and reduces the capital needs on the business, and ideally has a strong skill set and will do a better job in that category than anyone you could hire anyway. Simple, right? Makes sense. So now, figure out if there's synergy, commit to becoming partners, and leave each other alone. Let your partner do their work. You do your work, get together in some predetermined increment of time, and report out on each other's progress, and then get back to work. And if it becomes apparent one of you isn't holding up your end of the bargain, then you have methods through your legal agreement on how to exit a founder. This is how my partner and I conducted ourselves for many, many years. He was operations and marketing, I was development and finance. We both acted like independent VPs in our areas of responsibility, reporting the collective two of us as owners/GMs. If you feel like you have to be in your partner's shorts, paying attention to what they're doing day in and day out, you're either a control freak or you've got the wrong partner. You have to figure out which it is, get it out on the table, and resolve the issue. Partnerships are powerful. Most businesses are formed inside of some version of a partnership. They are complex animals and must be treated with a great deal of respect. Go through my questionnaire, have the hard conversations up front, and if you still want to move forward, I know you're positioned for success. I promise.